Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm going to do your February the 7th just for today in a meditation. It's 3:57 a.m. I greet you this morning. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. I am excited to do the meditation with you. The title of today's meditation, February 7th, this is not a test. We have found a loving, personal God to whom we can turn. That comes from the basic text, page 27. Some of us come into recovery with the impression that life's hardships are a series of cosmic designs or tests, rather, designed to teach us something. Let me repeat that. Some of us come into recovery with the impression that life's hardships are a series of cosmic tests designed to teach us something. This belief is readily apparent when something traumatic happens and we wail, "My higher power is testing me." We're convinced that it's a test of our recovery when someone offers us drugs, or a test of our character when faced with a situation where we could do something unprincipled without getting caught. We may even think it's a test of our faith when we're in great pain over a tragedy in our lives. But a loving higher power doesn't test our recovery, our character, or our faith. Life just happens, and sometimes it hurts. Many of us have lost love through no fault of our own. Some of us have lost all of our material wealth. A few of us have even grieved the loss of our own children. Life can be terribly painful at times, but the pain is not inflicted on us by our higher power. Rather, that power is constantly by our sides, ready to carry us if we can't walk by ourselves. There is no harm that life can do us that the God of our understanding can't heal. Just for today, I will have faith that my higher power's will for me is good and that I am loved. I will seek my higher power's help in times of need. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. What a wonderful meditation talking about this is not a test. Now, when we're talking about this is not a test, I can honestly just throw this out here, and I'm doing it authentically, believing that the majority of us have felt at some point in time that we were being tested by our higher power. If you have a higher power, okay? So I would think that this is a relatable devotion, right? This is a relatable meditation. And that we honestly, if we're reading through this, we should be able to relate to some degree. How many of us have said, "Oh, God is just testing me"? How many of us have lost a loved one and said, I must be able to handle it. I'm going through it. God is testing me. There's so many things that we go through in life, whether it be traumatic experiences such as losing a child or a parent, a tragedy that brings about a loss of life. I had a nephew a few years ago shot in the middle of the street with several people around. Believe me, when the bullets went flying, they weren't around, they were running. But everyone saw this individual approach. It still to this day is an unsolved murder in my town, an unsolved murder. And it just is unbelievable to me that no one will speak up. The last 7 days of his life were horrible. And when it ended, I knew that he was not going to suffer. And I knew that he was not going to be crippled, because that's exactly what he was going to be for the rest of his life. But not once did I think, "Oh, this is God testing me." I don't know. I just personally feel that my relationship with the God of my understanding is precious. It's intimate and it's precious. And while I know good people do bad things sometimes, I just don't believe that my higher power would test me like that. I mean, if that's the case, I don't think that that's a relationship that I would maintain. I would not be able to maintain a relationship with a God of my understanding that would inflict such pain. So I don't have that belief. This is easy for me to understand because I don't have this belief. Am I saying I have never thought this way? Absolutely not. Mighty Stream has thought this way before. I've even let these words come out of my mouth. God must be testing me. This must be a test. Instead of life is flowing, things are happening, people are acting, consequences are occurring, right? Because we talk about the wreckage of our past all the time. But when we're talking about the wreckage of our past, when that wreckage presents itself, do I have the audacity to say, God is testing me? And I dare not, because I don't feel that when I'm dealing with the wreckage of my past or the consequences of my actions, or sometimes the consequences of someone else's actions. I don't believe God is in that mix, other than to allow me to have the strength and give me the courage to face the situation. You know, I don't know. I believe that God, higher power, whatever you want to call it, him, her, gets a bad rap. And it's easy to place blame or push blame that direction. I was talking to someone, a young adolescent. I was talking to them, and they had lost their uh, grandma, to whom they were very, very, very close. And I was saying, journal, maybe you should journal. And when they read me what they wrote, I could see this very thing in here, right? That God was testing her. This was a test. This was something that her God had done to her, and that she would never forgive God. And I thought to myself, ooh, that's deep to start out at this age with that thought, rather than this is something that has taken place because life happens, and that the God of my understanding is there to help me heal. I believe it's about looking at the cup half full or half empty, and for me, I take solace in looking at it half full, and I take solace in thinking about the God of my understanding helping me to get through whatever happens. Because as soon as I end this podcast and I go out into the world, right, I don't even have to leave my house for tragedy to actually hit. How many homes have just ignited because of a gas leak? Everyone was sleeping and no one smelled it, or, right? How many house fires have happened? I don't even have to necessarily leave. I wouldn't wish this on anyone or myself, right? But I don't necessarily even have to go out into society and start encountering people and their actions and the consequences of their behavior, like drivers that run red lights, people that drive drunk, right? I don't even have to go out in order for tragedy to come, right? I don't. Life happens. But my relationship, the intimacy that I have with the God of my understanding, is the strongest relationship I have. And I'm, newcomer, no, it was not always like that. I couldn't stand people that would even dare use the G word in a meeting. And then when I saw how many times it was in our literature, I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to figure out where I'm at with this. How angry am I? Am I, so resentful with God right now that I won't be able to access this program because a title is used in in the body of the text, right? Because see, I get to name my God. So when I read this, it's a title to me, just like saying my higher power, my God, right? But I don't think I've ever been on here and I've announced or said or promoted who, right, my God is by name. Yeah, because my God has a name. And I use it every day, but I haven't once on this podcast done that. Because quite frankly, it's no one's business, you know? And I just feel like my relationship with God is too precious to me to go around blaming it for all of the things that I experienced that weren't positive. But rather, very infrequently do you get the same people that do this go around thanking the God of their understanding for how good things turn out for them, right? So I don't want that duality in my life. You know, I don't invite it because I don't see it as being helpful to say this is a test. I don't. I mean, I guess for people that love taking tests, it's great, but it would just create resentment in me. And I want to say to the newcomer or anyone else, you know, that sometimes we have to switch things around. You know, we have to reframe things cognitively so that we can start having a different perspective. And that different perspective oftentimes will lead us further down the path in positivity than the perspective, right, that we've been having. And so I would just love to say to you, you know, let today be a day where you really think about not all of the stuff you blamed your higher power for, but all of the stuff your higher power has been there to help you get through. Yeah, my name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I want for you to have a beautiful day. This is a heavy topic. We can go on for hours on this topic, but we won't, right? We won't. We'll leave it to you and your responsibility to go through this and to think about it and really sum up, you know, the things that you've been blaming your higher power for versus the things that your higher power has actually helped you successfully come through. And I think you'll find the scales weigh far greater on the positivity side. My name is MightyStream. I want for you to have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to talk to you tomorrow.